Hey guys, what's up? I got a super fun one for you today. We're going to pick a team with 5 Aussies, 5 South Africans, and 5 Kiwis. Yes, an old school Tri-Nations formation. I can use whoever I want on the reserve bench, but this is going to be based on form from the Northern Hemisphere tour. Now look, if I was just picking between the All Blacks and the Springboks, it'd be pretty easy, but throwing the Aussies into the mix, with all due respect, it throws a bit of a spanner into the works. Here we go. So let's start off hot. Here is one that's going to make the South Africans and the Kiwis absolutely boil with rage. I'm not going to pick Nche. I'm not going to pick Tamaiti Williams. I'm going to pick Angus Bell from Australia as my loosehead prop. Now, you might be wondering, what am I smoking? I do live in Oregon after all, but hear me out. I'm building a team here. There are a lot of different jigsaw puzzle pieces. If I'm going to get my Aussies in, I have to go to a position of relative strength. And look, Angus Bell had an absolute shocker against Scotland. Let's get that out of the way. He did not perform well in the scrum. Something went horribly awry. However, we all have a bad day from time to time. Pieter-Steph du Toit occasionally has a bad game. Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson, they've all had a bad day at the office, no matter how great they are. I think Angus Bell had a really bad day at the office in Murrayfield. But if you look at his other form, he has been the mobile prop that Australia has been looking for years. All right, if you take a look at his form against England, he was destructive with the ball in hand. He ran like a back. He hit the breakdowns like a loose forward. He looked like the total package. So we're going to forgive him that disgraceful one-off performance against Scotland. He is my loosehead prop. And next to him, in the middle of the front row, is Bongi. I just love this guy. He's so experienced. He certainly hasn't slowed down as the years have started to advance, but he's not that old. I think he's hovering around 30, so he could yet make 2027, particularly if his game time is managed a bit in coming years. But this guy is just a classic for a reason. He's remarkable in the scrums. He's solid with his line-out throws. He's just generally a beastly presence around the field, and I like that. As for my tight head prop, I gotta go with Tyrell Lomax. He is just one of the best scrummagers, one of the best around the field. Everything you could want in a prop. And, it's interesting with the Kiwis, Ethan de Groot's fallen out of favor a bit. Tamaiti Williams has shot up the depth chart. Tyrell Lomax is pretty much immovable on his side of the scrum. And honestly, he's one of the first names I wrote down. Let's move on to the locks. And again, you're going to be upset if you're a Kiwi or a South African. But guys, these are the rules. I didn't make them up. Well, I kind of did make them up. But I got to get 5 Aussies in there. So I am picking Salakai Loto. He is a good lock. Okay, he might not be a Scott Barrett or a Tupovai or a Mostert, but he's up there. He's mobile. He's got a good offloading game. He adds some real punch and zip to the Aussie forward pack. So I'm going to put him in there to meet my Aussie quota. I'm pretty confident with him. His form has really improved over the course of the year. But I'm going to put him next to Eben Etzebeth, the most capped Springbok, and he's my captain. Yeah, this is weird. I've done 2 composite teams in the past year, and both times I've picked a Springbok as the captain. But I guess hopefully that just shows I'm not a completely one-eyed Kiwi, and I can recognize that they are the world champions and they have some great leaders. Do I even need to explain why? He's Mr. Reliable. He's the most capped for a reason, and he's showing no signs of slowing down. So he's my guy. Very happy with that locking combination. I actually think there are some complementary skill sets there. So, flame me in the comments, but it is what it is. Let's move on to the loose forwards. No Sia Khaleesi. No Wallace Satiti. Rob Valentini from Australia. He's my number 6. And here's why. It's one thing to excel in a forward pack that has ascendancy. To me, it's even more impressive when you are the lone wolf out there hitting the breakdowns, getting over the gain line, when your buddies in the forward pack are not delivering at the same level. For me, that's Rob Valentini. Look, the Wallabies have been beaten up front many times in recent years. This guy never takes a backward step. He is often a shining light for Australia. Give me the ball. I will cart it up. I will get us some positive post-contact meters. I have a hell of a lot of respect for this guy. And I think, to be honest with you, if you slotted him into the All Blacks or the Springboks pack, he would be in a lot of people's world 15s. But he's not. He's playing with the Aussies, who don't quite match up at this point in time to the Kiwi and the South African forward packs. But I'm putting him in there. I believe that surrounded by other players of the quality that I've selected, he would absolutely shine in that role. And there is going to be some loose forward cover on my bench, so wait for that. Going to go to 7. Who else could it be? Pieter-Steph du Toit. Look, he's the World Rugby Player of the Year, and with good reason. He's magic. He's magic. He's an all-time great. Love his leadership. Love his skill set. He's just a Mr. Reliable. He's one of those guys who's in the conversation for the Mount Rushmore of rugby. You know, Brian O'Driscoll, Martin Johnson, Dan Carter, Richie McCaw, Johnny Wilkinson, Keith Wood, Anton Dupont. Anyway, I won't go on, but he's someone in that rarefied air, I feel, at this point in time. And 2 World Rugby Player of the Year awards speak to that. So he's an easy pick for me at number 7. But at number 8, I'm going with the bloke who won Player of the Year last year, Ardie Savea. He lost absolutely nothing this season despite having a sabbatical in Japan. And remember, we're focusing on the Northern Hemisphere tour form here. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. And in fact, his best performance might have been in that losing effort to France in Paris. He was just dynamite. And having Peter Lakai there, reinforcing the breakdown area, actually let Ardie roam a bit wider, be more destructive with the ball in hand. I feel that with Pieter-Steph du Toit there at the breakdown, and with Rob Valentini carting the ball up, hitting the gain line, man, Ardie Savea could really do damage with the ball in hand. I gotta say, I love this back row. I don't want to, put a vertebrae out patting myself on the back, but that's a pretty nice little 6, 7, 8 combo. I'd love to see them play, maybe against a Barbarians team. Let's move on to 9. Easy one for me, Cam Roigard. I think he is on the way to being the best halfback in the world. For my money, he outshone Dupont in Paris. That is a hell of an achievement. And I think with a full Super Rugby season under his belt next year, knock on wood, he's going to go to the next level in 2025. So who's going to be throwing the ball to at number 10? Lolesio is pretty good for Australia. And then it comes to South Africa. Do you just want to pick a name out of the hat? I mean, seriously, we got Hendrickse, we got Pollard, we got Marnie Lebok. They have no shortage of options at 10. But for me, the shining light in first 5/8 play was Damien McKenzie, in particular against Ireland in Dublin. He had some good cameos off the bench too. He was very good when he came on against England at Twickenham. But for me, what seals it is his game control, his goal kicking. That was rock solid in Dublin, and that combined with his line breaks. He dominated this year for line breaks. We know about his creativity. We know about his mercurial play. Well, what we saw in the Irish game is that this was being galvanized by some smarter game management, some good tactical kicking options, a clear head, no headless chicken, a clear head. So he's my number 10. And look, I don't want to be swayed by what others think, but I did notice that he snuck into the World 15 Team of the Year as voted in the Rugby Awards. So clearly I'm not the only one who feels his form has really jumped on this Northern Hemisphere tour. Let's get to the back three. Cheslin Colby on one wing from South Africa. This guy is just unstoppable. My God, I mean, he's not the biggest, but his body positioning, his body height, his post-contact meters, like that's what blows me away. It's not just that he's elusive with his footwork. So often you see him get into contact and just kind of wriggle through a few bodies, lay on another 5 or 10 meters. He's fantastic. And again, not the greatest stature, but solid under the high ball. How could you feel anything but confident having him back there at 11? Let's just go across to the other wing. I am going to put Will Jordan there. Yes, I'm allowed to move players around. I know he's been playing at fullback, but we'll get to number 15 in a second. For me, that try scoring rate, 38 tries and 41 tests, it speaks for itself. He's well on the way to get the all-time New Zealand try scoring record in this World Cup cycle. I think he will eventually take down Doug Howlett's 49 tries. And this guy is greased lightning. He is sensational. Will Jordan, a generational talent in the back three. He's got to be in there. Even if he's not playing fullback, he's my right winger. Let's go to the centers combination. Damien Delende is my number 12. This guy came in really with no rugby under his belt and just lit up the field. His line breaks were phenomenal. He gets the pass away. He doesn't die with the ball. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, it's weird to even wax this lyrical about a player who's not an All Black, but he is one of the main reasons South Africa's been so dominant in recent years. We talk a lot about the Springbok forward pack. We know about the great leadership of Sia Khaleesi. We know about Pieter-Steph. Delende, magic. He's my number 12. And I'm going for, I guess, a little bit of a bolter, you could call it. It's always fun to throw a new face into the team. I'm going to go with Joseph Suali'i from Australia, the rugby league convert. Man, did he look good against England. He's spectacular under the high ball. I just think he's got an X factor that the Aussies have been missing a little bit in that midfield area. They're good there, don't get me wrong. I mean, Len Ikitau's a great player. They've had some good cattle coming through, but this guy kind of has superstar written all over him. So if he continues to refine his skills, I think he's going to be a keeper for Australia. And yeah, he's green, he's new in this code, whatever. I know star power when I see it, and he sprinkled a bit of stardust all over that game at Twickenham. He was sensational. So I got to get one more Aussie in there, and I'm going to go with Tom Wright at fullback. Little bit suspect on defense. We saw that against Scotland, not pretty, but hell of an attacking player, knows his way to the try line, knows how to set up his wingers. Pretty happy with a Cheslin Colby, Will Jordan, Tom Wright, back three. Stoked on it, actually. That's what I'm going with. There you go. 5 Kiwis, 5 Aussies, 5 South Africans. Let's look at the reserves bench where I can name whoever I want. Well, this one breaks my heart. I don't have room for Tamaiti Williams, even though I love the guy and he should be in there. And quite frankly, he would be in there if I didn't have to pick 5 Aussies. But I'm going to go with Nche from South Africa. I just want my pack to beat up on the other team. I want rock-solid lineouts. I want a monstrous scrum. Him coming on, yeah, he's going to do the damage there at the set piece. And that's why the other prop I have is Ofatuanga Fasi, who, don't forget, he can play both sides of the scrum. I just think this guy has had a bit of a renaissance. He is in his 30s now, but as an impact player, man, Razor's reinvented him. It's breathed new life into his career. I feel happy when I see him coming on with 20 or 30 minutes to go. I think that he will shore up the scrums if the pack's having a hard day there at the set piece. So he's my insurance policy on the bench. My backup hooker, man, you know, the Kiwi bias makes me want to pick Asafo Amua, but I throw some cold water on my face and I ask myself, how do you not pick Malcolm Marx? You got to pick Malcolm Marx. For me, he's the best impact hooker in the world. A little bit like Quagga Smith, sometimes doesn't make the same impact when he starts. I'm not sure why that is, but coming off the bench, there's really no one better to do it. He is going to be my backup rake in this team. I got room for a lock on my bench, and it was tough, man, because, you know, Patrick Tuipulotu is a great impact player. Scott Barrett is the captain of the All Blacks, but I'm going to go with RG Snyman from South Africa because I kind of want to finish the game with RG and Eben Etzebeth out there together, that Springbok combination. That's the reason why. So he is my backup lock. And guys, I'm sorry, there's no room for Sia Khaleesi in this team. It was really either going to be him starting and captaining the team, or he's not in my squad. I've got to go with Wallace Satiti. He's explosive, he is creative, he's got X factor, he's going to make a huge impact coming off the bench. At number 9, I just couldn't quite bring myself to go with Cortez Ratama from New Zealand. I think his attack is great, but showed a little bit of vulnerability when the breakdown wasn't going his way. No, I'm actually going to go with Grant Williams from South Africa. I think he's your best number 9 at the moment, like his decision-making, but he's also got a crisp pass and he's got some flair around the field. So he's looking like the total package to me. I actually do like Tate McDermott from Australia too. I don't want this to be like a Wallaby hating video. I don't want to make it seem like it was so hard to pick Aussies. I mean, they have some real talent in the team. I don't think it's all coming together yet. But Tate McDermott really is a smart heads-up footballer. I did think about putting him on there, but I'm going to go with Grant Williams. And now we have an interesting one. Do you know what? I'm changing this on the fly. I actually put South Africa's Jesse Creel on the bench, but he's an out-and-out centre. In a head-to-head centre duel, I think he's got the wood on Rico Ioane at this point in time. But actually, I'm going to have to put Rico in there because I think he gives a bit more versatility. He can cover the midfield. He can also cover wing if there are any outside back injuries. So, yeah, I'm calling an audible here. I wrote down Jesse Creel in my team, but I think actually Rico edges it just for versatility. And then we need sort of fullback, first 5/8 cover. Beauden Barrett, he's my guy. It was either going to be Damien McKenzie or Beauden on the bench. I think Barrett shows he still makes a hell of an impact at 33 years old. So if the game needs to be grabbed by the scruff of the neck, I'm going to back him to come on and do that. All right, guys, what do you think of my team? Fun thought experiment, having to balance out the Aussies, Kiwis, and South Africans. Did I make any howlers, or do you kind of like my work? Let me know. We'll talk about it in the comments, and I'll be back for another video real soon. Take it easy, guys. Bye for now.